Well, good morning, everyone on YouTube. How's everybody doing today? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be, whenever you watch this. Figure I get this video out early on a Tuesday, and I just want to give everybody kind of a heads up. That other video I said about Thanksgiving will be probably coming out later this week. Maybe I'll do kind of like a double next week. Um, it just depends on how much time I have. I get some time tomorrow or Thursday, I might do it, but be on the lookout within the next few days for the Thanksgiving one. We'll have to do another show on Tuesday, make our Thanksgiving picks, kind of go over, talk about a little bit of what's going on in football. Obviously, next week's rivalry week in college football, so a lot to talk about there. And also want to say, continue to have those people in your thoughts and prayers in California going through that wildfire. In California, a lot of the Rams players had to evacuate employees, some players, coaches, staff members in the stadium. They have to move their facilities to Colorado Springs to practice. Um, this week, the Rams will be playing in Mexico City against Kansas City. We'll get into that a little bit more later. Obviously, the shooting that happened in California, so really a troubling time. They were able to get their minds off it a little bit on Sunday after a big win over the Seahawks, but just continue to have them people in your thoughts and prayers. Um, we have a recount here in Florida over the governorship and the Senate, and we'll see where that goes. We'll keep an eye on that. Big trade in the NBA that happened here a couple days ago was Jimmy Butler getting traded from the Timberwolves to the 76ers. This will add more firepower to Philadelphia with Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. We'll see if Markelle Fultz can get up and going, but very well liked. I think this is going to suit both teams well. Minnesota still has a lot more firepower on offense with Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Wiggins is starting to come alive a little bit. Derrick Rose had a big game a couple of weeks ago, scoring 50 points. So it just see what happens there. Hopefully Jimmy Butler can get things going with Philadelphia. So, really not really much going on in hockey. Blackhawks continue to struggle. Two coaches have already been fired. We talked about that last week. The Predators looking like they're out and going a little bit, so we'll keep an eye on hockey. Nothing really major in baseball has happened yet, so we'll see what goes on there. So with free agency and everything else, and then finally with NASCAR, before we get into our football segments, the championship four has been decided. Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, and Martin Truex Jr. Another thing that came out last week after we posted this was Kevin Harvick had a level 1 penalty, had to be docked 40 points, and they took the win away from him. So he wasn't a shoe-in to get in. Eric Almirola, Kurt Busch were kind of right there needing that win to really put the pressure on Harvick. Kurt Busch got involved in an accident with Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott, and Almirola needing that win to just get into that chase, wasn't able to. So the championship four is set. My final pick will be Truex. This team is going to no longer be in existence after this race. I think you just go out there and you put the pedal to the metal and you go out there and try to win it. Also coming out that he will be driving the 19 car. Daniel Suarez, who was in the 19 car, is now out. And more rumor has that Daniel Suarez might be driving the 41 for Stuart Haas. We'll keep an eye on what's going on there too. So without further ado, let's talk about some college football. Not really big surprises. The top four college football ranking will come out tonight. Ohio State did beat Michigan State 26-6. I got that game wrong, but the other three games I got right. Notre Dame beating FSU 42-13. Oklahoma beating Oklahoma State 48-47. Clemson beating Boston College 27-7. So Florida State needs to win out in order to be bowl eligible. We'll see what goes on there. The other big thing that happened in the Big Ten this week, Northwestern controls its own destiny to get to the Big Ten championship, and they will play probably either Ohio State or Michigan. So we'll see what goes on there. This week's games, it was kind of hard to find games that I really wanted to pick. Next week, there's a given. There's about 3 games that I'm definitely going to just put out there and be like, this is the games I'm picking regardless of the record. I think you already know one of them, Michigan and Ohio State. But there's other games on there too. We might have 6 or 7 games next week that we're going to pick. And I also will go back and update my standings for college football and the NFL to see where we're at. Kind of like a quarterly update. So, first game on tap is Syracuse at Notre Dame, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Iowa State's playing Texas, and Cincinnati and UCF. I'm going to go with Notre Dame to beat Syracuse. I just don't think Syracuse has enough firepower to keep up with Notre Dame right now. West Virginia over Oklahoma State. I think West Virginia hurt their loss earlier this season, but I think things can go their way. They can probably sneak up in there. Iowa State, Texas. I like Iowa State on the road. And UCF and Cincinnati. This is the Saturday Night Football game on ABC at 8 o'clock. I think this is a great move by college football and the networks to really showcase UCF, to show them what they're all about. They got the longest winning streak in college football right now at, I think, 22 or 23 games. So let's give them their due and see what goes on. So, what was I going to say? Okay. Top 4 for the college football playoff is probably not going to change. I think it's still going to be Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Michigan would be the top 4. I don't see it changing. All 4 won pretty handedly this week in their games, so don't see it changing at all. But interesting to see where the others are, how those teams fall into place. The NFL, had a little weird thing happen there. It was a little soreness there. Sorry. The NFL, Pittsburgh won on Thursday, 52-21. Got that one right. I got Green Bay over Miami, 31-12. Carolina the Rams beat Seattle, 36-31. Didn't get the Sunday night game or the Monday night game as Dallas beat Philadelphia, 27-20, and the Giants beat the 49ers, 27-23. I did get my upset, and I said my upset last week was Tennessee over New England. So Tennessee beat New England 34-10. Some other notables here. Bears, Mitchell Trubisky throws for over 300 yards in their win over the Lions, 34-22. Redskins pulled it off against the Bucs, 16-3. 500 yards of offense for Tampa Bay, but they weren't able to get any touchdowns. And they let their kicker Chandler Cannizzaro go yesterday. Cairo Santos will now take over the kicking duties. Saints, Drew Brees passed Brett Favre second all time with a touchdown pass list. They smoked the Bengals 51-14. Cleveland got their 3rd win of the year, beating Atlanta 28-16. Indy beat Jacksonville. Kansas City beat Arizona, which is expected. Buffalo scored some points this week with Matt Barkley at quarterback. They obviously let Nathan Peterman go, so Barkley or Josh Allen could start. Buffalo beat the Jets 41-10. Chargers beat the Raiders 20-6. That's now 6 in a row now for the Chargers winning. Rams won, as I mentioned. Dallas won, and the Giants won. So it was a good win for the Giants too, with a game-winning touchdown pass by Eli Manning with 53 seconds to go to hit Sterling Shepard in the end zone. And this week, Buffalo, Cleveland, Miami, New England, the Jets, and San Francisco are all on the bye. That's pretty much the entire AFC East is on the bye. I think it is the AFC East. So, all right, here we go. Let's make our picks for the week. Obviously, the Thursday night game, and there's about 6 games on here that I'm going to pick. Green Bay at Seattle, and you know how we do this is stickers. So we got Green Bay at Seattle, Cincinnati at Baltimore, Houston at Washington, Philadelphia at New Orleans. The Sunday night game, which got flexed in there, was Minnesota at Chicago, and then Kansas City at LA and Mexico City. We're gonna save the Kansas City LA game for the last part of this broadcast or video. So without further ado, Green Bay and Seattle, taking the Green Bay Packers on the road. I just think they're hitting at the right time. I know Aaron Rodgers has never won in Seattle. Of course, that controversy 2 times in Seattle when they went up there in the game-winning interception, and the Golden Tate should have been intercepted. And then the NFC Championship game back in 2014. recover the onside kick. Green Bay goes to the Super Bowl. See what happens if they play New England, but I think Aaron Rodgers says enough is enough and goes up there and beats Seattle. But also, Seattle at home is very tough. Cincinnati at Baltimore. Reports are that Lamar Jackson might be starting in this game for the Ravens, but I think Cincinnati bounces back and beats. Okay, we got to do it upside down there. I think Cincinnati comes back and beats Baltimore on the road. I think Baltimore's in some flux right now. I think Cincinnati wants to kind of stay in that race to keep pace with Pittsburgh, maybe for a wild card. So, Houston at Washington. Now, I said earlier in the year that Houston would be my disappointing pick. They are rolling right now at 6-3. Washington 6-2. I think this is a very good game to look out for. I like the Redskins at home. I would have took the Texans if it was at Houston. I will make an upset pick, but I don't really want to. I'm not going to say it over YouTube because I'm looking at it right now. I just don't really see one that really stands out for me right now. There's a couple of them that I'm looking at, but I just was undecided at this point. So, what am I doing here? Did I forget to take the sticker? Yeah, I did. All right. So this is the first I've ever did this. Let's say the AFC stack. All right. So we got Philadelphia at the Saints. This is the big Fox game on Sunday. Big NFC game. Big 4:00 game. Philadelphia at the Saints. I like the Saints. This could have been the NFC Championship game last year had it not been for the Minnesota Miracle. The Saints are rolling right now. They control their own destiny to get that number 1 seed. Obviously, with their win over the Rams a couple of weeks ago. So, I like the Saints at home. It's very tough for me. If this was in Philly, I would have took the Saints as well. I think Philadelphia is just there's something going on there. It's just a little bit stagnant right now. Show some great signs late in that game against Dallas, but couldn't make the stops when they needed to. So, Washington is starting to pull away in that division. Everybody says, "Oh, this division's wide open, wide open." Like Washington can still play. So, and that was the team everybody thought would be last. Minnesota at Chicago on the Sunday night, and I am taking the Bears at home. Another one of those games. If it was in Minnesota, I probably would have took Minnesota, but I like the Bears at home. They are rolling right now, and this is a great battle for first place. Minnesota's coming off the bye. And then finally, the game of the week. 9-1 versus 9-1. First time since 1990 where you have a game of this magnitude on Monday night. The 49ers and Giants back in 90. Phil Simms, Joe Montana was 10-1 and 10-1. This game's in Mexico City. And I have to agree with what Booger McFarland said last night on the Monday night broadcast talking to Scott Van Pelt was whoever runs the football better is probably going to win this game. And I think Kansas City running on LA is going to be more effective than LA running on Kansas City. These teams' defenses are a little bit suspect, but I think Kareem Hunt will have a big game. I'm going to take the Chiefs, only because I think this is kind of like a wild card pick. I think a lot of people are going to take the Rams because, high-powered offense, this and that. I'm starting not to doubt Andy Reid in these situations because of the fact that he knows how to win these football games. Sean McVay, yeah, he's winning football games. I'll take experience over rookies and first timers any day of the week. This is how you build that experiences for the Rams. I also said too that I think Goff is a little bit. I mean, I probably haven't said it on the show, but I think Goff is a little bit shaky when it comes to those moments. Hasn't really been tested in those moments. How does he respond? Same thing with Patrick Mahomes, but like I'm saying, you got Andy Reid on that sideline. You got Chad Henne backing him up, who's kind of been in that situation before in his career. But I'm just saying, I like the Chiefs on the road. I really like what Kansas City's doing. I wanted to pick the Rams, but I just can't go against Andy Reid. I went against him earlier in the year, and I paid for it. I took the Chargers as the division winner, and it looks great right now at 7-2. But Kansas City's 9-1, so not a bad pick for the Chargers to win the division. But Kansas City's really rolling right now. This is for the best. I think right up there with New Orleans, best teams in football. And New Orleans wins. Whoever wins this game is going to be right up there with New Orleans. And I think really a big testament if Kansas City can win this game, New England on the bye. The next team looking down on them is going to be 3 games behind. Would be New England and then maybe Pittsburgh, and they got wins over Pittsburgh and New England. So Kansas City's really rolling for that home field, even though they lost to New England on Sunday night. Their only loss of the year, about a month ago. So, without further ado, I hope everybody has a great rest of your week. Snowing in your area, try to stay warm. Like I said, continue to pray for those in California affected by the wildfires. Like I said, probably later this week I'll have that Thanksgiving thing video out for y'all. Probably within the next few days. So be on the lookout for that. So y'all have a great week, and I will see you next week. Continue to be sassy, America.